He waited his whole life for this moment, the day he held his newborn son in his arms. But just hours later, one phone call changed everything.
In a small and beautiful town in America, there lived a brave soldier named John Miller. He had served in the military for many years. For John, his country was not just a place on a map. It was a responsibility he carried in his heart. John was married to Emily. They loved each other deeply, but a soldier's life is never easy. Sometimes he had to stay away from home for months, and sometimes he had to face danger to protect others. One day, John received the happiest news of his life. Emily was pregnant. When John heard the news, tears of happiness filled his eyes. He hugged Emily and said, "Emily, I have completed many missions in my life, but holding our baby for the first time will be my greatest victory." Emily smiled and replied, "I know you are a brave soldier, but now you are going to become a wonderful father too." From that day, John started dreaming about his child. He wondered how his son would look, what kind of person he would become, and whether he would be proud of his father's uniform. Days passed, and the time for the baby's arrival came closer. John was on an important military assignment, but he tried everything possible to return home. Finally, after many days of waiting, John came back home. Emily's eyes filled with happiness when she saw him. John held her hand and said, "Now I won't go anywhere until I hold our baby in my arms." A few hours later, a baby boy was born. When the nurse placed the baby in John's arms, the strong soldier broke down in tears. He looked at his son and whispered, "Son, I promise I will bring every happiness into your life." Emily smiled and asked, "What should we name him?" John looked at the baby and said, "His name will be Alex. I want him to grow up strong, brave, and kind." That night, John held his son close to his heart for the first time. He felt like he had received the biggest happiness in the world. But destiny had something else planned. The next morning, John's phone suddenly rang. It was an emergency call from the military. John answered. A voice said, "Soldier John, our country is facing a serious crisis. We need you immediately. You must return for duty." John became silent. He looked at his newborn son. His heart wanted to stay with his family, but a soldier's promise was always with his country. Emily understood his pain. She held his hand and said, "Go, John, protect your country. I know you will come back to us." John picked up his son one last time before leaving. He whispered, "My son, when you grow up, remember, your father did not leave you. He went to protect the future you will live in." Then John wore his uniform and left for his mission. For weeks, John fought bravely with his team. Every night, he looked at his son's picture and dreamed, "One day, I will return home and watch my son grow." But during a dangerous mission, John was seriously injured while protecting his fellow soldiers. Even in his final moments, he showed courage. John gave his life while serving his country. He became a hero. After a few days, a military vehicle arrived at Emily's home. Emily's heart sank. She knew something was wrong. The soldiers brought John's body, covered with the American flag. Emily broke down in tears while holding baby Alex. The soldiers gave John a final salute. One officer said, "Your husband was not just a soldier, he was a true hero." Emily looked at her son and whispered, "Your father gave his life for you and for this country." Years passed. Alex slowly grew up. Since childhood, he would stand in front of his father's picture and look at him with pride. One day, he asked his mother, "Mom, was Dad really a hero?" Emily smiled with tears in her eyes. "Yes, son, your father always protected people." Alex always kept his father's uniform safe. Every year, he saluted soldiers in memory of his father. As Alex grew older, the desire to serve his country grew stronger inside him. One day, he told his mother, "Mom, I want to become a soldier like Dad." Emily's eyes filled with tears. She was afraid of losing him too, but she knew her son carried the same courage as his father. Alex joined the military. He trained hard every day. His instructors noticed his dedication. They said, You have the heart of a true soldier. One day, Alex found his father's old diary. Inside it, John had written, "My son, if one day you wear this uniform, remember that true strength is not in weapons. True strength is in protecting others with your heart." After reading those words, Alex cried. He looked at his father's picture and said, "Dad, I will complete your dream. I will serve our country with honor." Years later, Alex became a brave soldier. On the day he wore his uniform for the first time, he stood in front of his father's picture. He gave a proud salute and said, "Dad, today your son is ready to protect the country too." Emily watched him from a distance. Her eyes were filled with pride. She felt that John's dream had finally come true. Alex never saw his father's sacrifice as only a loss. He saw it as a responsibility. He learned that soldiers do not only fight wars. They sacrifice their today to protect the tomorrow of millions. And so, a father's unfinished dream was completed by his son. A soldier was gone, but his courage, his love, and his dedication to his country lived forever. Some soldiers never truly die. They live forever through the courage of their children.